it's also where you're at in your personal life and how you feel about yourself too, because all that shit affects you.
Well, it
your
depends. That's what I'm
mentality.
saying.
Your mindset.
Like for example, she's talking about she was going through some shit with her father about feelings about her father. There's some of that shit in me, you know what I mean? And then there's other people have talked to me about their relationship, whether it was with their girlfriend or wife or whatever. So,
it's because you know what it is, like, you come to understand, for me, you come to understand life as like we're all just like individuals. There's not roles, there's not like expectations. Sure, like you have your parents and you expect certain things from them, you hope certain things from them, but at the end of the day, like, they're very much just people, you know, and we like how hold things against them. But what ultimately brought me to the decision to do it, well, first off, in high school, a little short story, I was very like, pues era aplicada, me gustaba mucho leer, la escuela, like, you know, like a lot of extracurriculars, but I hated going and I hated homework. So somehow, like, my test results compensated for my truancies and just a bunch of other things. But at the end of the day, I still had to attend Saturday school. So those 4 hours every Saturday I would read. And one of those books was Scar Tissue by the singer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So he talks about his acid trips. And here I am, like 13, like, what the heck? Like, how is it that he is able to see these things and they're not physically there? You know, like visual trips. That's what, eso me llamó la atención at first. So then the opportunity presents itself, and then I figure, my logic was like, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? Like, I die. And it sounds kind of hard to say, like heavy, but I'm like, well, the worst thing that could happen is going to happen anyway, one day. So, I mean, might as well, you know, like, might as well, like, hop into the experience. So I did, and that was the acid trip. The acid trip was crazy because it was very euphoric, and then you start kind of noting that your visuals are, like, not the same. And that freaked me out. And so I had to isolate. I went into a room by myself, and then I started seeing my body, like, melt. That's pretty common, you know?
Yeah.
But melt in the sense of, like, okay, I see my hands, and they're, like, little girl hands. And then, like, a couple seconds later, they're older woman hands, like, you know, like 80s, 90s, and then it just rots. And it's like, why? Like, I'm analyzing all the things that I'm seeing, and first of all, I'm tripping because I'm like, how am I seeing this and it's not there? And I know that I've never, like, been on some crazy shit before, but, like,
so
this
you were,
is happening.
how old were you, 13?
When I tripped, no, I was 22.
When you first tripped on acid?
Yes.
But you had read this book when you were 13?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So you were always curious.
It was a long time coming. I'm like, I'm going to do this eventually when I'm of age and in a, you know, a safe environment, whatever, you know, what have you. And so I'm tripping alone and I'm looking at all this stuff happening. And then I started seeing my dad, and that, like, I just started seeing him for who he was, not as my dad, but for, you know, just being a man that had his own trials, his own story. And I just let it go. Like, it was just instant. And I, like, how, you know, how all these years, like, my whole adolescence of, like, certain feelings, and then in one experience just releasing. But that's really what it is. I think it's a release. Like, it's detachment from self. That's the most important part.
From that point on, did your relationship change with your dad?
At least me towards him. Because before there was a lot of, like, distance. I was like, no, you know, y luego ya después yo lo buscaba a él, if that was reciprocated or not. Like, it didn't bother me. Like, I was like, you know, I know you're going through your things, like, that's cool. But yeah, like, I was just I was cool, and I still am. Like, it's kind of scary sometimes to be this, like, unfazed, because you get challenges and you're like, okay, like, you need challenges. I mean, what would life be if it was just smooth sailing, you know? So it's very welcomed, like, everything that happens. And now I see it from, like, okay, I gotta jump over this hurdle to access, like, this blessing or, like, this thing and things like that. But it's dope. That was crazy. Acid. Shrooms was more, like, earthy. And I tripped with my girls, with my goats at a park. That one really threw me on, like a health awareness kind of trip, where I'm like, you know, on some, the government is trying to poison us, and they do, and we eat all this bullshit, and it's like, we really do just feed into it. At the end of the day, like, se me antoja un, like, Chick-fil-A, I go eat it. But there's so many things in there that are banned in other countries, but they're not banned here. So it's like little things that we overlook, that it's like, what the heck? Like, how come we don't care enough? And we don't. And it's well, we're lazy and we're not aware. You know, a lot of us just aren't aware. Like we don't see it clearly. So I think that it's important. I always try to like, you know, tell those around me. But it is ultimately like something that has to move you to that point. And it was that experience for me. Antes me decías like, no, ya no comas eso. And I'd be like, whatever, you know? Like, but now like it's very much like I'm stronger on that. I'm more firm.
And that came from that shroom trip.
From that trip, yeah. Y pues, I mean, they haven't all been great trips. They've been terrifying. But that's what's so, I guess, fortifying about that. You know, it's so empowering that, like, you know that you're submitting to this discomfort and this fear. And at the end of it, like, you get yourself out of it. You calm yourself down. Like, it's all you at the end of the day. Like, it's always you.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, it's cool.
Okay.
It's cool.
Are we going to use this?
Yeah. I mean,
are you okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm cool.
Yeah. All right. So, because I was going to say something about when you're talking about the food stuff. Yeah. It's bullshit. Like, we should not be eating fast food.
Yeah.
All that stuff, the chicken, the meat, the way it's processed, the things they put in it. You know, it's just, no.
Yeah.
Processed foods. Does that ever like affect you when you go out and like como que se te antoja algo and then you remember the
No,
process?
he still eats it.
I used to. I think I've been desensitized to it.
Yeah.
I'm just desensitized to it.
You eat it like saying, fuck it, it is what it is, right? Kind of like, you're not going to eat it all the time, but you're like, all right,
from the fast food places, like, it's disgusting. But yet I still find myself eating it sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I just been
well, yeah, it's kind of like when you hear like some of the like processed meats. They say that a lot of workers get injured. Like, you know, people that are putting their hands in and parts of their finger will go in, but they won't say nothing because, oh, shit, I don't want to get fired. Or you don't want to stop the whole production line. So, yeah, sometimes if you're eating like weenies or anything that's processed, you might be eating a little part of a human.
What happens is that, no, for the most part, it's fine because they have like QA people now.
They do,
most places.
But
sometimes, like something falls or something, they have to, what they do is that whole lot, what they call a lot of production, say it's I don't know, $20,000 worth of thing
has to go thrown away.
Has to get thrown away, even if it's one defect. So a lot of times,
but isn't there like a percentage? Like, doesn't they have to meet like a threshold?
Yeah, it does.
So like, if it's okay, and I'm assuming, it's just a quarter of a finger. Fuck it, it could miss the threshold. Nah. Okay, I don't know. I mean, I don't work in that in that field, but.
Yeah, no.
I'm assuming there's companies that don't abide by that shit. Because, I mean, come on, it's money, fool. At the end of the day, it's like...
I think California's pretty good. Maybe in other parts where it's more rural and there isn't people and they don't give a shit, you know? Like, or like privately owned companies and stuff.
For sure. But it's true. Like, I mean, that trip, that wasn't a trip. What offset that initially? Like, I read this book called Fast Food Nation. I don't know if you guys recall, but I was like, what? Like, not even anything specific, like the meatpacking industry, which, you know, was a crazy chapter, but more than anything, like the lobbying, the advertising towards children, towards kids, where it's like, man, like, we just really don't care. Like, we're really out, like, we're greedy. And I'm going to include myself and all of us in that, you know? At the end of the day, it's all of us. We all participate in it. And so I think that when you have those realizations, it's so important to just, like, hold on to them, because we're so brainwashed that it's like, if you have a little breakthrough, like, shit, like, just grab onto it. And there's a lot of cognitive dissonance behind that too, because it's like, at the end of the day, sure, like, you abide by this to try to improve, but there's a number of things you're still fucking up on.
Yeah.
But it's a process. Like, I mean, it's not perfection that's expected. But yeah, I mean, the food part was great. Growing up, like, I lost like 70 pounds throughout high school. So it was like my relationship with food has always been interesting, like, for myself. It was always like kind of like an emotional crutch. And then now it's just very like, now it's dope. Like, I'm not like the healthiest person, but I definitely, like, my relationship with food is sick now. It's fun.
Do you grow up? Well, I think we're getting into the podcast. So I think we're gonna say this stuff. Let's start the podcast, and then we'll get back into this.
Yeah.
Because I had some questions I was gonna ask.
Well, we already started rolling, so I'm not gonna say what's up, everybody. Welcome to Sisko Mike podcast. But I even had an intro for her and everything.
Let's do the intro.
Let's do the intro in the middle.
We've done it before.
That's fine.
We've done it before. So, all right. See, I'm on the spot. Today's guest tiene talento, mucho talento, and that's because she has la voz. We got Rancho Humilde singer Janine Rivera in the house today.
Welcome.
Thank you guys.
Sorry, guys, that we got caught up in the conversation again, but you already know how it goes, so.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really dope. We got Memorial Day weekend, Sunday morning mimosas.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's super fun to be here, and this is like my favorite stuff to do. Like we're connecting through the things we love, you know, and we just happen to show up at the same spot, which is your business, which is so dope.
Conversation, man. The art of conversation is it's so dope. And for a long time, I told him like this thing now, just having conversations with people you don't know, hearing their perspectives, it's life changing. Like, and I look forward to it. I enjoy it, and it's like, damn, what I do all these years where we were just bullshitting. You know, we were just talk about bullshit, and it's like now it's like you're getting value, you know, just from a simple conversation.
That's so true, and it kind of makes you sad because you're like, man, like all this time that I wasted, you know, where I could have been absorbing and having all these dope thoughts and convos. But it's good. It's good that, you know, we have the opportunity to do it now, and so we have been for the past 15 minutes without the intro, but. Yeah, I mean, it's super dope to be here. I've been doing music since I'm 9, but loving it since before that. And it took me a long time to realize that, I remember asking my mom if it was like a profession, singing, because I was like, hey, like I really like to do this. And she was like, oh man, like great. Like my mom had one daughter, and that is obviously me, and she was like expecting a doctor or a teacher, as like, you know, I guess a lot of parents do. And pues aquí viene la cantante that's like trying to, or not trying, better yet, doing the thing, you know, like singing, and it's a genre that is unestablished fully, because I like to think of it like that, because when you look back, there's only been 2 icons, Mexican, that is Selena and Janine Rivera. And I mean, of course, there are many more that are picando piedra and doing the work, and there, for sure. But I think that came up on their own, per se, perhaps, them too. And that's not to say that there's not like these amazing singers that are the daughters of legends that are already artists. But for somebody that is like me, that is on the come up, that had like no like attachment to anything musical, like my parents are like so far from that world, que cuando yo les dije, hey, like I really want to be a singer, they were like, what are we gonna do about that? Like, well, we don't know anybody. Like, how do you even start doing that? Like, where do you go? And so it's been a journey. And I was reading my diary the other day that I've had since I'm 7, and disappointingly enough, there's too many fucking inserts about like guys, like boys. But in between that, every year there is like singing, music. I know that I love this. I know that this. And it was very touching to read, porque pues desde chiquita, you know? So I feel like we really do see and know our purpose since forever, almost, you know, like, or our essence. It's always been there. So yeah.
Desde chiquita, ¿quién eran las cantantes que you were like, oh shit, I want to be like that? Like, I know you mentioned Selena and you mentioned Janine Rivera. Was there other cantantes at the time that you were like, fuck, like, I want to aspire to be like them?
Yeah, those came later, actually. Like, I'm not even going to front. Like, I wasn't all like, oh, I love Selena, I love Jenny. In fact, like, not at all. You know, it wasn't until later that I realized that it takes so much to get to their level that I, like, developed this respect for them. Not because they're not dope and their music's not sick, but because I was never into it. The first few things that I had access to were, like, Luis Miguel, and I loved his showmanship. A lot of people trip out about his personal life, but to me, like, the artist and you know, the person are not necessarily supposed to be judged together. Celine Dion, Laura Pausini, and this amazing singer Karen Carpenter from the Carpenters, like a band from the 70s. I just like OG things, I guess. Like, I just like I love emotion, and they conveyed that. So
nice.
Yeah, I'm not very much like a el espectáculo or things like that, you know. But that's another department. But I would consider myself that kind of an artist. That, like, if you're gonna go, it's because you want to a show of mine. It's because you want to be moved, emotionally, through music.
And that's what I love about music too, the emotion part. That's why oldies and like R&B, those things. That's what on my playlist pretty much. And you just feel it, you know what I mean? Like, no matter what you're going through, it just comes out, and that's what's dope about it.
Sí, yo también. Like it's there, that the connection. You connect to it. Sure, I have like the random, like, you know, dance party, like EDC type stuff, but yeah, I think it's just the best. Like when you can connect to something through emotion, it's there, and so that's what I strive to do in my music. Like I strive to convey a message. I don't think I've made a song that has like that's kind of empty in that sense. You know, like it always has something. So
Now, growing up, obviously, your parents are Mexican, right?
yes.
So, at what point did you make that switch? Because the people you talked about, you know, it's not really ranchera or it's not really that type of music. At what point or what was it that actually got you into that?
I guess myself, because when I expressed this interest to sing, my mom threw me in a juvenile mariachi group that was directed by Jose Hernandez from Sol de Mexico. Amazing mariachi here in Southern California. Well, now, you know, worldwide, but so I go in, and then like for myself, mariachi was my voice. Like the way I sang, everything was the way I sang mariachi. And so then I go to La Voz in Miami when I turn 21, 22, and I experience these amazing vocal coaches. And obviously this is Miami, so it's not Mexico. It's not a Mexico vibe. They sing salsa, they sing cumbia, o sea, es otra parte de tu voz, and they teach you how to use it. And more than anything, through that experience, I found out that I am not mariachi. I interpret mariachi, and I could interpret it the way that I interpret mariachi. We're not in 1960 some, you know, we're here today, and the way that I interpret these songs and these emotions are going to be that of like a person from here today. So I cut that and I adopted my own style, and I applied that to everything that I did, you know, and I found my own voice. I found my own like music. And it's funny that you mentioned oldies. I have a big connection to it as well. Like I mentioned a little bit before we started, I was born in East LA, but then I moved to Whittier. And these are two very like heavy, like nostalgic, like heavy on the low riding scene. And so I realized, hey, like I actually like, this is my culture, and it's not a coincidence that I connect to it so much, you know, like I've lived in it. I'm a part of it. So, yeah, the music that I make now is like, I like to think of it like as a modernized, like nostalgic oldie. You know, it's like an oldie, but of today.
Yeah.
With the arrangements of, you know, today, with the influences of back then. Nice. So, yeah, it's dope. It's cool, and I've been enjoying the process. It's like, it's just a learning experience at the end of the day. When you observe any artist, it's so cool to see their, like, journey, their transition. And so I'm experiencing that, and pues obviamente estoy firmada con Rancho Humilde, and it's been really dope to have that support in that transition. Because initially I did sign on like as a mariachi singer. So now like I'm coming out of this like a new type of, you know, artist. So it's cool. Like it's different.
What does that feel like, being signed to a label that's, when you think about it, obviously you think, you know, like corridos, and you think, you know, certain type of music or a certain type of person?
It's challenging, honestly. And a lot of the times, like, I do have to kind of come together with myself, where I'm like, there's so much more that we could be doing. But at the end of the day, I do realize that when I release things through the Rancho Humilde channel, through the label, which, you know, there's about 6 girls signed. And we all see it like this, right? Where, I mean, let me just speak for myself right now, where like we release a project, and you know, you come to this realization where you're like, okay, they have more than 7 million subscribers right now, I believe. And most of them came on to see a specific artist, a specific, you know, niche. They're not here for the girls. They're not here for this and that. But, you know, I appreciate the fact that they're betting on us, because not a lot of people bet on girls. And that's a thing, like, you know, so at the end of the day, it's very challenging, you know, to have to release projects and know that the reception might not be what you anticipate. But even then, like, there's not many of us that have the opportunity to even do those things. So it's like, oh shit, you know, at the end of the day, it is what you make of it. I do really believe that we have to grind like 10 times harder to even get a little bit of the attention of the spotlight, because it's just what it is. I go to Vegas, right? There's this Junta de Promotores, it's called. And this was part of that epiphany that I was mentioning a little bit earlier. So I'm looking at a wall, and it's 2 Streams. And shout out to 2 Streams and to everybody there, you know, like no hate. It's just what it is right now. And I say that because one day it won't be. There's a lineup of like a bunch of regional Mexican singers, and there's 30 men. But I'm like, bruh, like if this was pop, like it would be like both or full of women or like una cosa la otra, but like not just guys. Like, come on, don't do us like that. Like there's a bunch of girls that like, por lo menos una, pero no muchas personas nos echan la mano de esa manera. And that's fair because nobody really hears it. So I've kind of like, I've been in the psychological aspect of it in some ways. Like, I'm like, okay, why? Like, and I analyze as a listener impartially, like, okay, I don't like listening to corridos sung by women a lot of the time. I personally don't. So I can't blame somebody else for not liking it, like for real. So personally, sometimes if I make a corrido, I'll keep it like at a lower key because somehow that is a little bit more convincing to me. And maybe we've just been raised in that way, or I don't know. I don't really quite know why, but I don't criticize it because I feel the exact same way. So more than anything, that moment when I saw that lineup of like more than 30 guys that were just guys representing an entire genre, I was like, okay, girl, like you're doing it the wrong way. You know, your dad's not Pepe Aguilar. You're coming in here fresh and you gotta work the game. And that's really what it is. And a lot of people talk about it. A lot of upcoming rappers talk about it, you know, or now established that we're, you know, kind of trying to make their lane. Like you have to find it.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily about, you know, following some type of rubric. So I've been kind of just doing my thing and, you know, figuring it out. And I think now more than ever, we're at a day and age where people of like anybody can connect to your stuff because we have that accessibility. You know, where it's like, oh, shoot, like, I feel that way. And it's like this super underground artist and they have like their own following. So I don't shut any possibilities out. But it's been a transition because of that, too. Not that I don't enjoy making like música mexicana, pero to keep myself in this box sometimes is a little bit like counterintuitive. You know, as far as we were saying también, time goes because you don't get time back. And there's not just me, but there's like a series of us that are trying and doing the most that we can for girls in regional, and it's not being seen. And it's like, who the fuck cares? Because nobody really wants to listen to it. But we really do. And that's not, y no es por menospreciar a las personas que sí nos apoyan, because there is. But it's like, it's never going to be at the level that it has been in the past for these guys. So I mean, we're just working the floor. Like we're finding ways and grateful for the doors that do open because it's happening, you know, little by little. And I'm kind of calling this like the year of the Mexican because we've kind of been on the rise.
We've talked about that here,
Yeah, I said that
and
not
we've
too
gotten
long
some
ago.
hate on it because
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, again, I'm Mexican American, right?
Right.
And obviously, we talk about Latino stuff because we know we're a Latino podcast.
Yeah.
Pero cuando hablamos de Mexican stuff, because that's what we know,
Yeah.
people like we've gotten hate about like it's Latino, it's not just Mexican. I'm like, no.
That's true.
Right now, we're just talking about Mexican, though.
But
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like
yeah,
this is
of
specific,
course.
and you're right. A lot of Mexican shit's popping.
Yeah.
And we're there and we're representing, we're Mexican, but we're representing Latinos as a whole, of course.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's a win. A win is a win.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why we aren't winning yet, because there's like ideas like that, you know, and ourselves included. Like, si hablan otro, you know, another strain, for lack of a better word, of Latino, like we might get a little bit butthurt too. It happens.
Yeah.
But it's like checking ourselves. Like, we got to check ourselves constantly. Like, nah, dude, like, let them win. Let them win right now. Tomorrow it'll be us and shit like that. But yeah, collectively, it's not the year of just the Mexican, but Mexicans have been on the charts, you know, doing things here, there. Like, we have the Hot Cheeto movie coming out this year.
Yeah.
So it's like, finally, you know, we're getting spotlight. We're getting that recognition because, I mean, at the end of the day, like, history does not lie. Like, we have been here. This has been, you know, a land for Mexican people. So it's very nice to get the recognition that is long overdue. And that's really all it is. It's not to say that we're better or worse than anybody else.
Yeah, true that.
So it's dope.
We self-sabotage ourselves, dude.
All the time.
We do, like, we divide ourselves into more, like, you know, we're talking about, you know, that day I was talking about Mexican music, just regional, you know, all the collaborations going on.
Yeah.
So, and then we started getting hate because it's like, oh, but this and but that is like, dude, like,
Yeah.
so we divide ourselves into Mexicans, Hispanics, Latinos, I don't know what other things.
Fucking
And
Hispanic
then
X.
music-wise,
Yeah.
when you look up something Spanish music, right? It's a mix of everything. It's not one thing.
Yeah.
But what do we do to ourselves? Oh, that's corridos. Oh, that's trash. Or oh, that's trap corrido. That's trash. Or oh, that's mariachi. That's beautiful. That's real music from Mexico.
That's
you know what I
so
mean?
true.
So we're always like dividing ourselves by everything, pretty much.
Yeah, you're right.
And I don't know, but we talk about this a lot too.
It's
How we're always
true.
like just hating.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like you said, women doing corridos, like, oh, here come guys, like, oh, why is she singing about that? Or girls, oh, no, that's not a real woman.
Yeah,
So
or like
it's-
hating, like on some like celosa shit. You know, I've been hearing certain little things here and there that I'm like, what? And that I'm not at liberty to say, but certain things that like I was like, no way, like how? Like you're adding to the problem, and it's like it's a frustration where like I can't even be mad at you, bro, because like you're just ignorant. Like and we've all been there. We've all been in a state of ignorance, but it's like to just like want to wake us up and like pull us out of that like this monotony and this cycle of like hatred towards one another, like jealousy. You know, you look at other collections of people at other races and like they're more open to it. I don't know if like it happens through experiences, like we were saying, like certain experiences propel you towards a certain awareness. But I think we've had those. Like shit, we've been through like the ringer, Mexican people, Latinos, in terms of oppression, in terms of so many things. So it's like, yo, ya nos toca.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to reach it and maintain it. Because a lot of others have. So yeah.
Even now, it's still going on. I talked about it last week, we're still being oppressed. People still take advantage of us, treat us like shit, even now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's getting a little sensitive. I'm gonna get a little heated now.
So, what venues have you played at that you loved?
Not enough. Not enough. But I really liked. We did. I believe it was an older venue. It was called something else previously, but today it's the Dignity Health Sports Arena. It was one of my favorites because I opened for Ramon Ayala.
Oh shit! How was that?
It was so cool because I got to take my mom, and ironically, my mom didn't even get to see me because she got there late. And you guys know like the traffic thing.
Yeah.
But just I guess the knowledge of that type of moment, you know, was very cool. My goal for sure is definitely like in the next year, in the next few months, years maybe, the Microsoft. I would
Okay.
like to play. I'm just figuring how that works, you know, because I am such a diverse sound that I'm like, what type of lineup is that going to look like? Is it just going to be me headlining? And I'm open to all of those avenues. So when you manifest things like that, when I've manifested things like that, there's just so many possibilities that I think maybe that is my mission as of now, to narrow it down to like, okay, you kind of have to have like one that you fixate on, because I want them all, obviously. But that one, to answer your question, was definitely a dope one. And then my first one was the Pasadena Civic Center. That was with mariachi.
Okay.
And we did it was like a Christmas event with Jose Feliciano.
Oh shit.
So he's like an OG, obviously. He's
Yeah.
super cool. Just iconic moments like that have really set the tone for me
Okay.
in terms of the goals and like the direction that I want to take.
I wanted to tell you something. Right now, you're talking about narrowing it down. Do you have to, though? Because think about it right now, like, music is popping all kinds of genre. You know what I mean? We have people collabing with hip-hop artists that do, you know, corridos. We have hip-hop artists that are doing, like, R&B. You know, Drake started off, and then... So everybody's kind of just jumping around. You know, the Peso Pluma, you got people from hip-hop listening to Peso Pluma. So it's like... I don't know. And then Coachella, you had freaking bandas, you had Grupo Firme.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I feel like right now it's a time where it's open. People are open to listening to different genres. Like, yeah, I understand if you're going to a mariachi show just in general, you know, you kind of narrow it down just mariachi. But I think like for an event or a concert, especially you that you don't technically have a genre, or you're kind of, you know, have different types of sound. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just interesting.
It is. And maybe I meant like narrowing down in the sense of like when you envision some type of goal or whatever.
Oh, okay.
You're like, what does that look like? You know? Porque like when I think Microsoft, it's just very, okay, maybe we're missing kind of like that type of artist in itself, and maybe that's what it is, and maybe that's why I'm having trouble like piecing it together visually, because it's not there yet. But I guess that's kind of my aim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope. You know when you were saying right now, you know what I was thinking in my head? I kept just thinking scar tissue reimagined by you with our I know, like, I don't know, I was just thinking like mariachi.
With our sound?
Yeah, with our sound.
Some
like,
type of,
yeah, because you know how
Latin.
a lot of people are mixing stuff like that. And I don't know, I
that
just
would
thought,
be dope.
in my mind, I was like, scar tissue, that's a big thing that was part of her life too. I mean, at
That's
13.
so true.
And I was like, I don't know. I mean, that's something that you could, I don't know. It was just an idea. You could take it, you know what I'm saying, if you
I
want.
will. Shout out.
Sampling different types of sounds. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, because it's going on, you know, it's been going on for a while.
But that's the beauty of music and art, dude, that you take what people have done in the past and you take inspiration from it and you make it your own.
Yeah.
In some sort of form or fashion, you know?
Oh, yeah. Like, that has been a big one for me this year. I used to think that, like, sampling was a little bit like cheating, which is ridiculous because a lot of my favorite songs are samples. And I came to realize that, right? Like, as I was analyzing that and having this thought. So I started having all these feels, and then I listened to this song, and I sampled it with the homie Ocho on the beat. Shout out Ocho. And man, like, it's such a cool song. It's a classic. It's a Brenton Wood song. And that very much like kind of set the tone for this new direction. So it's funny that you say that. I will definitely be taking that piece. Yeah. Wait on it. Yeah.
Is that song out? The Brenton Wood one? The one
Not
you
yet.
sampled? Okay.
No, that's kind of been the thing too. I've been on a standstill. This past year I just released regional pieces, and I recently concluded what I like to think of as my last one for a minute.
Okay.
Concluded the video shoot for it, which I co-directed with a friend, which is another aspect of that. I love the visuals. I love directing cinematography. And I think it tells such an important story, you know, of what you're trying to convey. If there's a message, like, there's that extra opportunity to convey that message through the visual. So my goat star in that one, catch that next month. That'll be a cool one. Se llama la canción ¿Qué le vamos a hacer? And it was written by a very, very good friend of mine. His name's Bobby Castro. And I'm picky, man. Like, it's not because there's not amazing songwriters or talented writers, or, you know, like, and I get sent a bunch of songs, but, you know, you have to connect to it. It has to connect to you as an artist and to what you want to portray then to everybody else. So I'm super picky. Bobby and I, like, we're friends for a couple of years, and during this time he shows me like so many songs, and they're beautiful, they're amazing, and we hear them regularly, like, you know, like, because he writes so much. So then one night, pretty interesting actually, I total my car, so he very graciously gives me a ride to some spot, and he's like skipping through his songs that he's showing me, and he skips through this one song that happens to, I'm like, wait, what the hell was that? And he's like, what? Like, oh, like what? Like this old thing type of thing? And then I'm like, no, like, go back, like, play that. And so he plays it, and I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, where has this been?
Yeah.
Like, what? And he's like, this is an old one. And so then I'm like, no, I want it. Like, please, like, I want it. And he's all like, yeah, like, sure. And so I record it, and it just spoke to me. Like, it's like those types of songs that when you listen, you're like, fuck, like, I could have written that. Because that was my exact thought. That was my exact feeling. And it's kind of like, se trata de, you know, having this really dope love and then being like, but it's cool. It didn't work out, but it's cool. You know, like we're cooling. And it spoke to me because a lot of the times you're either really distraught or you really, really miss the person. But this one's about acceptance. Like you accept what it was, and it's like it was dope for what it was. And he confesses to me later that was one of his favorites that he kind of just kept locked up, that he would never show anybody. So, ha!
Is that out yet or no?
No, not yet. It's set to drop. It's done. Like the video's done. It's set to drop this June.
Okay.
So that'll be dope. And moving on from that, that is the last regional, kind of more on the regional side that I'm going to, or música mexicana that I'm going to release for a minute at least.
Did you feel pressured being signed to Rancho Mila and having to do regional?
A little bit, yeah. Like I felt like I had to present banda or corridos or initially also what I signed on as, which was mariachi. And then I released like a mariachi EP. And I mean, of course my heart was in it because I am mariachi, like from the foundation. But me as an artist, like interpreting mariachi isn't necessarily the artist that I am. It's me just singing mariachi, you know? Mm-hmm. So I'm super excited to finally like produce and release this sound that is fully me, not trying to assimilate to an expectation or what is already kind of out there, a lane that already exists. This is 100% me, like from the ground up, and of course with the help of and insight of other musical like people, like the producer Ocho, like, you know, other writers. But I do tend to kind of like stick to my own words. Mm-hmm. That's pretty important to me, to not have like this whole, bueno, hay oportunidades for either or, but for the most part right now I'm on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that's going to come with that though, right? Branching out into your own thing, making something your own. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to talk smack. And
I'm excited. I'm so excited.
That's what I was going to say. You have to look forward to that, and you have to enjoy that too.
So much, because I've played it safe for so long. Like, come on, mariachi. I mean, sure, there's been hate, but it's like, are you really going to hate on mariachi, bro? Like, no, you're not. Like, and I've gotten that. Like, I've gotten really cool reception from singing songs that I've been singing my whole life. But it's like, where is the kind of deeper challenge in that, the discomfort in that? There's not a lot. So yeah, I'm super hyped. I don't think there's been enough shit talking on me, like, you know, like bring it where it at.
That's the first time I heard someone say that.
Yeah, like come on. And my mom, it's so funny, like my mom will get so pressed when she reads comments that are mean. She's like, man, like I just want to hop on a fake account. I'm like, no, you are not. Like, do not. And porque ella les contestaría from her account, and I'm like, dude, please, no, that's embarrassing. Like, yeah. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Pero si hay veces que tú dices like, no mames, like there's like, it's like I mean, I know music, you know, I'm not going to tell you that I studied like hella theory or whatever, but I know music and I've been doing it my whole life. It's like with anything, you grow in what you dedicate your time to. Mm-hmm. And I have. And so, like, you know, I'll hit a note and it'll be there. And, like, no falta el vato que, like, mi hermana canta mejor y que quién sabe qué. And maybe so. But it's like, they'll be saying it on, like, some hater shit. Yeah, and my mom goes in there and she's like, what the heck? Like, what is up with this guy? And I'm like, ay, déjalo. It's like, it's fun. At the end of the day, I see it, like, as that, like, it's adding, like, dramatic appeal to like my life, you know, so it's like it's fun.
Any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, so it's like, come on, like bring on the hate, please.
Has there ever been one comment you're like, man, I gotta fucking answer?
Que te saca de
you're like, no, mom, like you really want to answer, and you're like, all right, chill.
Let me think. I think, yeah, I get defensive when it's not about me, because it's easy to like separate myself.
You're attacking your goats.
Yeah.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Honestly,
chivos, culeros, no le dar leche.
We're gonna make some birria.
Dude, I know. And you know, that one doesn't bother me a lot because, like, come on, like, I mean, we're Mexican, like, they go, like, birria, chivos. Pero si hay personas that, like, will, like, just take it that, like, dope-ass extra mile to just be fucking annoying. And I'll just be like, all right, I gotta, like, apply all these, like, trip findings to, you know, my response right now, because I do get defensive over them. Like I am kind of like I do advocate for animal rights. I don't eat red meat because of that, because one day I hope to transition into full vegan. It's so selfish to have this realization and to not just do it, but I'm there. Like, that is where and who I am right now. Because as I was saying, sometimes like we do a lot of things that don't correlate with what we believe and who we are, but it's like, I'm like, yeah, like animals, pero todavía me voy a chingar este taco de pollo, like, like little things like that. But I mean, maybe I'll get there, I hope. But yeah, the goat comment, that would probably like kind of stir me up a little bit on the goats, on my mom. Not so much myself. Like, I'm very like impartial to myself.
Okay.
Like, I talk shit on myself too. Like, go ahead, go for it.
Yeah. You're giving them tips. Talk about this.
Yeah, like, hey, you didn't reach this point.
Yeah, no, we're barely learning that, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? People are barely starting to like really talk shit.
Yeah, we've gotten some trolls for sure.
Yeah,
And
the trolls. And then you gotta remember, like, people are just bored.
Yeah.
Like, they're just bored. Like, at the end of the day, like, bro, if you had like 3-4 jobs, or like if you were like on some like super grind shit, like, you wouldn't even have the time to express this hate. So it's like, it sounds kind of whack, but it's like, I feel for you, like, I really do. Like, on some deep shit, like, it's like, you have to be coming from a place of like emptiness to share or to express some like unnecessary hate, when it has some purpose, or when there's like some cool reasoning behind it, at least, and it makes you see stuff like, okay, like, I see that point. But there's some that's just like pointless. So yeah, you just kind of have to take it as it comes, situation based.
You brought up something that I want to know. I'm curious about now. You're talking about people working 2-3 jobs and just being on the grind.
Yeah.
What's the grind like for you? Being like the artist and just being in music, because an up and coming and now transitioning. What's that grind like?
It's been heavy. It's been crazy. I've done a little bit of everything. I freelance right now. I did develop, skills throughout my whole experience as a singer, in terms of like social media, marketing, management, things like that. But, to be frank and to be like completely open right now, I just kind of do whatever. Like, I just grind. I grind. Like, there was a time where I did have kind of like more of a stable job, working from your computer, but then you start seeing like you start lacking on this end, or you start kind of slipping through the cracks here. So right now I'm very blessed to work alongside my boss, whose name is, not alongside, under my boss, whose name is Araceli. She's Hi Sally on Instagram, and she owns the #1 smoke shop in the West Coast. And she's super dope, and she's a little bit of everything herself. So she's been somewhat of a mentor. I did go to school for a couple of years, and actually I'm looking to go back, just because I feel like it would stimulate some really cool thought. And I miss that. Like, I miss having, I miss being challenged in my own beliefs, Like, right now I feel like, yeah, I could read, but I read the books that I want to read. Or like, I could see this, but it's what I want to see, Like, it's like school is that opportunity to kind of open up and challenge yourself. But yeah, the grind has been real. I've sang in almost every kind of like group that you could think of, like from banda, an all-girl banda, Las Inolvidables, to salsa groups, cumbia, rock, mariachi, norteño. Like, and so maybe that's also why I can like, I've described this, or I've described myself as such. Like, yo te puedo cantar en un like bougie bar in Beverly Hills, and I'll be cool. I'll be chill. I'll know how to navigate through that vibe, through that crowd. But I'll also get lit with you, like, on some like jaripeo shit. Like,
Damn.
I can do both, and it's like, I'm proud of it. Of course, like, it's been a part of my struggle, of my experience, and of my grind. Like, not everybody gets those experiences, and I'm so grateful for that. And that was kind of referencing back to, you get to realize later the blessings that certain obstacles were in the past. Like, sure, in the past I was struggling, but it's like, look at what I can do now because of that. Like, now I'm comfortable with all these types of people, and the music that I'm making represents that as well. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, like a Brenton Wood, an oldies song, will appeal to un campesino as much as it will perhaps, somebody of a little bit more like allure, or like somebody of a different social status, higher class. And that's for a reason. It's like, it's the message, it's the emotion behind it. It's a lot of little things, the musicality, of course. And so bridging that gap between cultures, between social classes is also super important because it's been part of the experience.
It's cool.
Every opportunity is an opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it has been. It's been a big learning experience. Like, life as a whole is cool. Like, I'm just excited to keep, like, learning, you know? Like, to keep growing in that. So,
It's funny, we were talking about that earlier, remember? With so our song, we were talking about, like, just the point of view, but it could be life's a bitch or life's great.
yes.
It just depends how you look at it.
Perspective. Perspective is everything. Yeah, I remember last year life was a bitch. This year life is dope, you know? Like, but at the end of the day, it's what you make of it. It's how you look at it.
It's kind of hard though sometimes. So
True.
Like, I'm not gonna lie to
We're
you.
making it seem like all easy.
It's fucking hard sometimes because when you're going through some shit, like it's not easy to just like I was telling this was like sometimes it's easy for them to say or for me to say, yeah, like is this what it is, fool? Like just shut up,
That's
move through.
true.
But fuck that. Like one thing that we've always talked about is mind is powerful.
Oh, yeah.
So you could tell me all these beautiful things about it's gonna be good, it's gonna be great. But if this fucker right here doesn't tell me, like the mind, and you're stuck in that, it fucks with you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So it could be with
definitely.
anything. It could
But
be with.
it goes back to what we talked about earlier in the beginning. Self-realization.
I know.
I think once you have that moment where you're like, you can be happy with yourself no matter what you've done, what you've gone through, who you are right now. As long as you can be happy with it and accept yourself and accept your mistakes, anything that comes, you could be like, damn, like.
I think that's the hard part, accepting the mistakes. That's the hard part.
Forgiving yourself is a bitch, too. Like, that's a big one. That's been a big one for me.
Yeah.
Because, like, you set yourself so, like, firm in your ideals that when you realize that you yourself have broken them, you're just like, oh, how did I do that? You know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, shit. But you're right. It is easier said than done.
Yeah.
And I did, like, kind of hit me right now. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, like, easy for you to say, like, it's, like, you're already there, you know, in that mindset. And then, you know, obviously we're blessed to do what we love, you know, to do this, to have the energy and the strength and the resilience to kind of, like, push. But some of us aren't always there at different points in our lives. So it's fair, you know, it's fair to
And
slow
that's
down.
okay.
Yeah,
and
it
that's
is.
okay. Doesn't matter. You don't have to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
You just got to know that you got to self-realize that it's not going to be forever.
Right.
The beauty's in the struggle, dog.
Well, that's why I got this.
That's
why I got my look.
Oh, that's right.
I know it's just because I got a new tattoo. I'm not gonna show it, guys. I'll post a picture later.
Aw.
Well,
We'll show it on the live. There you go.
Yes.
So I acquired this recently in the last like month and a half, and my tattoo means something to me because it's like a reminder to myself. So what this says, and I showed it to you earlier, the path to paradise is through hell, because we gotta go through some shit before you reach, you know, whether you're doing a goals, you're gonna set a goal, you're not gonna get it automatically. You're gonna have to fucking grind. You're gonna have to sweat. You're gonna have to fucking bleed. You're gonna have to cry.
Yeah.
And then when you accomplish the goal, is you're gonna be like, holy shit, like I did all this work. The same thing with anything in life. If you're going through a struggle, you're not gonna get out of it easy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that's what I'm saying. Like so the path to paradise is through hell.
Yeah.
That's something I don't know.
I relate. I can relate. Yeah, like it's kind of like what I was mentioning about the trips. Like it was a shitty trip, the worst emotionally, like the worst, like super scary. But at the end of it, I'm like, oh man, like I went through these like 8 hours of like hell of death to come out of it like new, you know. But it took that discomfort. Like I couldn't just sit there like in bliss and realize all these things. Like it has to be through discomfort.
You know what? You know what? What I'm listening to when you say that, it's kind of like we as human beings know that we gotta self-realize because that's what we've been talking about, but we choose not to because it's not a good thing to think.
Comfort is easy, dog.
Exactly. And with the trip, it's like you force yourself.
You
it's
are
like
forced
you're like,
too.
hey, whether you want this or not, fool, it's right there. And
Yeah.
analyze, cabrón. Órale.
Yes.
You got 8 hours. Make the best of them, or learn, or
suffer and like don't take anything from
exactly.
it.
So that's why I think it's beautiful, because, like I said, I asked you prior. Well, you guys will see it. I've been thinking about it, because people tell me that when they come out of it, it's kind of like, holy shit! I see something that I never see before. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, I want to feel that. I want to see that, because obviously I'm not doing it myself. Maybe it's because I don't have the courage, or maybe I don't have, maybe not the courage, but maybe I'm just in denial. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us live in that self-denial.
The real question is going to be after that. Whatever you realize.
What are you going to do with it?
Exactly.
I can't answer that right now.
Well, I know, but like, and it's funny, you know how I talked about the conversations we have here, how they mean so much. When we're talking about this, it takes me back to Rosabella. Remember when we had him on?
Yeah.
One of the guy's words of wisdom was, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone."
Nice.
You know, and it's true. Like you said, you know, we have to be uncomfortable in order to get past something or grow or to get to a certain point.
Yeah.
So, and like I'm telling you, it's, you can go through that, but at the end of the day, it's what you do too.
But again, you're not gonna know until you go through it.
Oh, of course.
So I can sit here and say, "Oh yeah, it's gonna change my life." I don't fucking know, dog. But I can't also not, like, I can't say it's gonna change my life or it's not gonna change my life if I don't do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And it's important to note that, like, you know, in that like indecisiveness, like you do kind of see it as like I mean, it is a plant. You know, at the end of the day, it's like, is this really going against like any of your ideals? Probably not. So it's like, sometimes, I mean, it is like an individual decision. You know, it is a choice. Like, because like we were mentioning, like some of us are just kind of like, we're fine where we're at. You know, like it's not necessary. No le tienes que mover mucho. But when you want to be moved in that way, like, and you know that there's kind of like this avenue, this outlet to do so, like, it might not hurt to try it.
Yeah,
you know, like
exactly.
my mom's open to it too, and my mom's like, no. Like, you know, she's like anti like all of this stuff. She's anti-marijuana, anti like pues todo. And I've dabbled in a lot of like the herb, you know, substances. And I've talked to her about my trips, and she's like, yeah, like, I mean, it sounds intriguing, you know, like she's pretty open to it. So
yeah, because think about it. Doctors give you fucking medication.
So that shit's worse.
They're
And
potions.
that's worse. Exactly.
It's literally potions. Like, it's crazy.
Exactly. And so why the fuck is it that people are against natural shit? And again, I don't do none of that. You know, I don't do drugs.
Right.
So not that I'm opposed to. I mean, I don't condone people doing hardcore drugs like cocaine and shit like that. Crystal meth, like that shit ruins lives.
That's not natural anymore. That's already
exactly.
fucking
But I don't have nothing against people that smoke pot, you know, people that do shrooms. I don't do that. But doctors, fool, they're giving you basically, the way I see it is Big Pharma owns a lot of the world. And I say world.
I got NDAs, so I can't say stuff.
Okay.
But it all comes down to,
of course, Big Pharma controls the world.
Something you can grow, something that's natural, you can't.
Exactly, you can't make money off of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you go, like I was saying, if you go to a doctor, fool, you can go to 3 different doctors and they're all gonna prescribe you different shit, but it's whatever company that they're working with. Like if they're working for a specific drug company, they're gonna prescribe you that, and then this doctor's gonna prescribe you that, and so like it's all money. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like
they get bought. Yeah.
Exactly. They're not looking out for you.
It's
so,
true. It's true.
Fucking look out for yourself. You know what I mean?
You have to. And that goes into the, like, finding information for yourself, like opposing the popular belief, you know, and like, pues I've done it, you know, and I know I get kind of criticized or ostracized for it here and there, but it's like, you kind of have to do the work for yourself to go against the current. Because just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean that it's the way or the only way.
Exactly.
And yeah, like it works for a lot of people. I think that if you have, si tienes esa comezón in anything that doesn't like hurt anybody else, like if you want to try something, if you want to do something, y es por tu mejoramiento, like you should do it, you know?
Yeah.
Like
and again, I'm not going to do it alone. I'm going to do it with somebody I trust.
Yeah.
somebody who's been through the experience too. So, I don't know. I talked to my guy already, and I told him I think this summer I want to do it.
Yeah, the
Joshua Tree.
preparation.
I definitely got to do a Joshua Tree.
Oh, I'm jealous. I've
Yeah,
always
I live
wanted to
about
do it
45 minutes to an hour from there.
there. Okay,
At
yeah,
night?
yeah.
Night, I think. I don't
It's
know.
gonna be
fool,
fucking
because-
hot in the day. We're gonna,
Yeah.
you're gonna be dehydrated,
Yeah, literally,
seizures and
like, I
shit.
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel all like,
Yeah, but
But-
definitely I want to do Joshua Tree because
Yeah.
I do love the scenery. I've been there a couple times and it's pretty,
oh,
pretty
that'll
dope.
be amazing.
Just don't let me climb rocks.
All right.
I start
like-
fucking
we
climbing
like the
rocks and
goats.
shit.
A lot of people think that it's like, oh, like, am I gonna jump off of something? Like, no. My mom, she was like, me voy a aventar del techo, and I'm like, dude, no, you're not. Like,
Is your mom willing to do it?
yeah, she's down. She's been kind of nagging me about it.
Fuck
Sorry.
it, I'm gonna invite her. I'm gonna tell her let's go to Joshua Tree.
Right?
I got you.
You're like,
She'll
Mom,
go.
first of all, how are you gonna get on the roof to jump out?
Literal. Like, but I'm like, no, it's not even like that. Like, it's your emotions. And the fact that there's so much preparation behind it already is a good thing. You know,
Okay.
You're giving it thought, you're setting an intention to it. It's not like one day you're just chilling and somebody like laced
you want some shit?
you with some shroom and you're like, like it's cool. You're preparing.
It's a big thing in other countries. I know that there's been people that head out to other countries and they go with like, I don't know what they're called. Let's just say a shaman or whatever. And he takes a group of people and he puts them through a trip.
Yeah.
Like you can literally book packages where you sleep
Yeah,
overnight.
it's like
and-
a spiritual thing.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a whole thing.
There's like
Well, we
peyote,
met an Uber
yeah.
driver. We met an Uber driver a couple months ago. Were you with us? He was a shaman.
What? Did you get his number?
And yeah. He I think he follows me on my cruise photography or something. Well, I changed the name, guys. It's Doe's mom now. But yeah, he's a shaman. He says he does like spiritual healing and with shrooms.
Okay.
And I was like, oh shit. But again, I want to do it with somebody I trust.
Yeah.
So I,
'Cause
not
I
that
mean,
I don't trust them, but I don't know
Even
him.
when you trust them, like I mean, for me, when it was acid, like I was with actually a former boyfriend and a friend, a really good friend of ours. I thought that friend was gonna kill me. Like, I mean, you know, like
Yeah.
that's another reason that I locked myself up. I'm like, well, I'm out. But I knew that it was my own mind like playing tricks on me, you know, like,
Yeah.
and you do have that. You have to be very connected to like your central self, también. And it's easy to do so. Like you're not like crazy.
You want to know one thing that tripped me out about acid? I've never done acid, but one story I've heard that was like, fuck that, I'm never going to do acid.
Yeah.
Somebody told me this when I was younger. They said that don't do acid because you fucking could literally die. Your mind will shut down. I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah, some dude fucking took acid and he thought he was a potato chip.
What?
Yeah.
He started eating himself or
No,
what?
no. He said he thought he was a potato chip, and then he started hallucinating that people wanted to eat him because he was a potato chip.
Everybody
So-
walking around with tapatillos.
Oh
So no,
my
he
God.
said he took off running and he fell and he thought he broke and he died. And I was like, nah, fool, for real? They told me this shit.
Not
And I was
funny,
like,
it's not funny, but I'm.
That is funny.
I'm dead.
No, that's funny. That's funny. Shit.
I don't know. That's why I
Potato
was like,
chip
fuck
part.
that. I'm never doing acid. You know what I'm saying?
I hope that
Shit.
was like an urban legend.
Maybe, I
hope.
don't know. Maybe,
Dog, you know what'd be a trip?
maybe it might have been my mom that told me that shit. That's like her way of
You
keeping
know
me
what?
away
Where
from
you
that.
gonna be?
Yeah,
I'm gonna dress like a fucking potato chip dog and just walk around, tripping
Oh
you
my
out.
God.
Yeah, he said he thought it was a potato chip and they wanted to eat him, so he tried to run away from people. Fucking
No,
fell,
you know,
broke.
not too far off. Like, I mean, you do get some crazy ass like thoughts, and they're crazy, but they're crazy because they're not like they're not common thoughts. You don't get these thoughts recurringly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then you start having them, and you're like, what the hell? Like, how? Or the visuals too. Like, I mean, just the colors and stuff. But what the most incredible part of that is just like you realize that just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Gotcha.
You know, that was what I took from that. Like, okay, I don't regularly see this, but I could see this now. So somehow it exists. It exists because I'm projecting this through my own mind, like obviously off a substance, but still like I'm creating it with my mind, you know, like,
Yeah.
and to be honest, like that offset like a series of events that like propelled me towards a lot of opportunity, towards a lot of music things, like the realization that like you can project reality.
That's
You know.
crazy.
You know what's crazy though? Like how anything can be helpful, but it also can be abused.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like if you think about it,
Oh,
like
yeah.
some musicians, you know, Jimi Hendrix, he was on acid and creating all these things, you know.
But
then
look at him.
Carlos
then
Santana.
Santana. But then there's also abusing, you know. Like
Yeah.
for me, it's hard. I don't think I would ever do acid because I had an uncle who was, you know, a drug addict.
Yeah.
And I remember him shooting up and always being, and his words always like, "Don't ever be like me." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it just
Put
goes
that
back
in
to
you.
the same thing. Like it could be anything, and it can be abused.
Yeah,
And you're right. I
100%.
talked to somebody a couple weeks ago, bro, and he said the same thing. He said, I did it for the same reasons to try to learn about myself.
Yes.
But they had a friend who wanted to feel the same trip all the time. And it was like,
can't.
you're not going to feel the
You
same
like
trip all
this
the time.
reality better than actual reality.
But this is the thing. He says, my boy was telling me, my tattoo artist, he does shrooms every now and then. He says, I always like hearing new experiences because it reminds me of my first experience. And the first experience is always the best. He's like, if you abuse it, there's people that abuse it, you're not going to get the same feeling ever. And I think that's why people abuse it,
You're
right?
not. I mean, that's the thing with that too. Because I did realize, like, yeah, like it's amazing and everything, but I mean, mind you, I did this when I was 22. I'm 25 now, and I did it twice. But the second time, like, just clinically, like, it just doesn't have the same effect. Like, you won't get the same effect. You do it once and it's super strong. If you do it again, like 2 days later, like, it's pretty much like you're not gonna get the same effect.
Yeah.
So even if you wanted to, like, get hooked on that feeling, like, like, sucks for you, you can't, you know, which is a very good thing when it comes to that type of stuff. Hard to abuse because you really won't get the same sensation. But even then, like, I mean, I definitely craved that realization further, but I was like, no, like, I mean, you can't just, like, access it. Like, okay, like, I'm gonna trip and that's it. Like, no, like, it has to happen naturally.
Yeah.
And you can't, like, it's not something that you're, like, on and stuff. So definitely, like, not something to abuse.
Yeah.
Like with anything, you know, like moderation. But with that even more, I mean, you don't want to be submitting yourself to, like, these intense things all the time.
Yeah, because you become numb, right? You kind of become like, oh, desensitized. You're like, what the fuck? Like,
to realization.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a cool, like, experience, not a cool, like, every day, every month, every year, even, like, nah, like, it's like a
Transitional points in your life.
yeah, and it's been a minute. Maybe I'll do it again, maybe I won't, because I really like what I took from it, and that's enough for me right now, you know.
Cool.
But yeah, so it's something to take lightly,
Yeah.
for sure.
Damn, we went off on.
I don't know. It's
We
crazy
did,
because we
like-
started prior to the podcast, we were talking about it, and then we're talking about it again. And honestly, I think it's the message behind it. It's all in our mind. Like,
Yeah.
it's how we want to feel, how we want to. Everybody's always finding that pursuit of life or pursuit of happiness. You know, like, what's gonna make you happy? And so, like, I don't know. It's just crazy. It's just going back to that shit.
I have this sick thought, like, and oh shoot, actually venturing into that topic that I'm on the grind. I actually work today, so I'm gonna have to dip out in a bit. But there's this very cool part that I read, which I'm not even gonna find it right now. But the gist of it is that I am looking to fully enjoy every moment, even the moments that are not euphoric. You know, and I think that the secret is in that too. Like, there's also, like, enjoying the struggle as much as you enjoy getting the point of success.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's that, like, finding the beauty in every moment and every detail. That is the mission as well. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of experiencing a lot of new emotions right now, and, like, you get hooked on that, like, happy feeling, you know? But it's like you have to appreciate all of it.
Yeah.
The dopamine rush, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, earlier we were
It's all
talking about
that.
something that I know you have. Oh, never mind. We'll just save that for another time.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the no manchas section, and then we'll finish it off with the words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. You want me to start off? I'll start off.
Go for it.
All right. I think we were talking about it earlier. I mentioned to you guys that I'm colorblind, right? And yeah, it's not fucking funny. I see colors. I just don't see every shade.
Yeah.
But crayon companies, you know what I'm saying? You remember when you were little, you always wanted that fucking big ass box of
64?
the 64 crayons with
Yeah.
different shades and shit.
Yes.
No mames, why you need so many colors?
I mean,
Why you need that like the
Yeah,
light
for-
fuchsia?
when you're a kid, right? It's just kind of like, but they were very appealing. They definitely. I mean, I wanted that one with the sharpener in it and everything.
Exactly.
Like, that was the shit.
I wanted the one that smelled, the one that had the little
What?
scent.
Sense.
The
Oh, you
different
will
scents.
scratch it, huh?
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, fool, I'm drawing something in the forest. I want forest green, fool. So I'm just saying,
like,
you know,
I don't know about you.
I ain't gonna put no lime green on a forest, you know.
That's true.
True.
But I mean, it sucks for me that I'm colorblind, dog, because all the greens look the fucking same.
Yeah, well,
So no manches. Make some colorblind fucking crayons, guys, or some shit.
It's just like
Colorblind-
colorblind friendly.
Yeah,
Just
colorblind
like
friendly.
like 5 colors. Yeah.
Or give us those little glasses and shit, so when I put them on,
Oh, to see.
Oh,
that,
wait,
that
shit.
would
there's
be
glasses
dope.
for that.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, but
Maybe it's an idea for
There
crayons,
should be
for
Shark Tank.
Crayola.
Shark Tank.
Shark Tank.
Yeah, there
dude.
we go.
Colorblind glasses.
Colorblind glasses.
Yeah, that is dope.
I got 2. I don't know which one I should go with. None of them political today.
All right, cool. No political shit today.
Man. All right. Ladies, if a guy walks in to get a pedicure, don't look at him weird. Okay? There's nothing wrong with us getting a pedicure.
Yeah, nah.
I walked in yesterday and I just get like people just looking like pedicure for you. Like, yeah, like
Yeah.
why not? Like, you know what I'm saying? So don't look at us weird. This makes us feel awkward. We're there to take care of our feet, just like you guys.
Yeah, like
You
You
know,
walk in with
so-
sandals, fool?
Nah, I walk in with shoes.
Okay.
I just take out my shoes and my socks next to the thing.
you will walk out.
You know,
with
put the little
sandals.
massage.
It's nice. It's a
I've
nice
never gotten a
moment.
pedicure.
No, you have to.
But I got fucked up feet, so I
mean,
don't want to walk in there.
I got a messed up toe too, but it helps take care of it. You know what I'm saying? So
They don't tell you shit, fool? They don't be talking shit?
I'm pretty sure they've seen worst of the worst, just like any
so yours is
profession.
not that bad.
No, one's pretty bad, but but yeah,
That's your cut people.
no, that's what you got to cut. Homie. That's what you got to do. That's what you go get a pedicure.
Yeah, like para no cortar a las personas.
I do my own shit. I do my own shit at home. I mean, I don't got a fucked up feet. I do got a fucked up toenail.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I think every man has that.
We'll insert a clip of you at home. Oh, yeah. Just some
You
footage,
need
some
like a
footage.
chainsaw crank.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're fucked up. What's your no manches?
Okay, like, What are we looking at though? Like situations where
Doesn't matter.
Where you're like, no mames.
It
It
could
could
be a
be
pet
funny.
peeve.
It could be something that you're like, no mames. Like, why do you do that? Or why can't we do this? Or
man, I have some, but I have some no mames, no manches moments, but I feel like I'm gonna get heat for it. But oh well. Like, okay, I have a couple of them. One of them is like, how come like you won't even be fucking up that bad while you're driving and you'll get caught? But like there's like a whole ass drunk driver on the freeway and like le pasa un highway patrol and they don't do anything. Like the other day, like there's this guy like mad swerving across the entire freeway and I'm right behind him and the CHP just like goes like just smooth and I'm like, what? Like that would have been me like gone, you know? Like because okay, I stopped I go on the yellow light. You can go on the yellow light, right? But like I turn left and then I hear like a brrr, and I'm like, no, mama, it's like, what the heck? And he's like, oh, like you went and it was yellow. And I'm like, because I still had time. Like there was nobody, you know? So I am that person that will get pulled over for like the dumbest things. That is my personal no mames, like I hate thing that I hate.
yeah,
Also for my tinted windows, but I'm like, dude, like I bought it off the dealer like that. Then why did they sell it to me? Like, you know, like cositas así. Also, let's see. I'm trying to throw in like a guy one that could be cool. Those are fun.
Yeah, they are kind of. They're pretty funny.
Yeah, the guy ones are fun.
Let us know.
Yeah, I gotta put you guys on game, but I'm trying to see. Okay. How about when guys lie? Like, no mames. Okay, at least personally, like, I like looking at a hot girl as much as the next human being. Like, women are beautiful. But it's like, why act dumb about it? Or why act weird? Or act like you're not? Or like, you know when certain couples, I see this in movies, I haven't really experienced this, but like, certain couples, like, oh, like she's cute, right? And like the guy will be like, oh, like I don't know, like I feel like if there was more camaraderie between girls and guys, like if there was more of like a friendship in couples, like I feel like things wouldn't be so awkward, and that's kind of like no mames to me. Like let's get past that. Like,
But I think that has to do with insecurities.
maybe
I don't think it has to do with insecurities.
Insecurities with ourselves and in the relationship, I think.
I don't think so. I don't think it's insecurities. I think it's respect.
Aw, Like,
Yeah,
that's
no,
cool.
yes and
That
no.
is cool
but
too.
but if you're doing it like the, that's
What am I?
disrespectful.
Well, yeah.
You know, like the, the meme. You know the meme where the guy's like,
That's why you wear glasses, fool. You wear
the
sunglasses.
colorblind
That's
glasses.
all the time.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, there's a limit between respect. But for example, like she brought up when the girl goes, oh, that girl's pretty, or I like that girl's outfit, and you don't even want to look because like, oh shit,
Yeah.
So I think that's
yeah.
insecurities in the relationship and with ourselves. Like maybe you don't want to offend, but the respect factor, yeah, like there is.
That is cool too.
Sí nos pasamos a veces. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, of course.
Eso se vale.
But that's. I mean, again, it's on the relationship. Like, if I'm sitting here, right, and with you, you're my girl, right, and I see a pretty girl, I'm not gonna be like. And if you ask me, is she pretty? I might tell you, yeah, she's beautiful. But what is your purpose for asking?
true. We're gonna put you guys on some game.
Why would you ask a guy?
What's the purpose of asking?
Is she beautiful? Is she pretty?
she's-
What the fuck's the point of that?
Look
Like,
at
you know what I mean?
Stern.
Exactly.
That was good. That was
So
good.
no mames, don't ask if you don't want to know.
I think maybe it's my own trauma of like my ex homie just kind of being like acting like completely like
Oblivious.
oblivious to everything, and I'm like come on. Like I love to look at girls, like, and I mean I identify as straight, but like I think girls are hot, like, and it's like, why not? Like, why not? But I mean, sure, we're all different, there's a different line of respect for every situation, but that's por eso les digo that, like, that's my personal one that I've been like no mames in, like.
I gotta know mames that has to relate like that, but it's backwards. It's like no mames on what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah. No mames to myself.
So with my ex, right?
Oh man.
I would be sitting there with her, and I'd be like, a bomb-looking motherfucker will be on TV, right? Like a fucking cut diesel motherfucker.
Cut diesel.
Like, a fucking bomb motherfucker, right? And I'm straight, but the motherfucker's bomb diesel, right?
Yeah.
And I'd be like,
Is that a new word? We just came up with something new. Bomb diesel. He's so beautiful. He's fucking.
Fucking, oh my god, that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And I'd be like, hey, am I cuter than him?
You're stirring the pot.
I know. But this is the no mames, right? No, you're handsome, baby. Shut the fuck up! Why are you lying to me? That I'm looking at him. Yeah, I'm like, this motherfucker's hot. That motherfucker's like a 20 out of 10. Anyways,
And you know
no
what?
mames. Why do we do that to ourselves, guys?
To our defense, when a girl asks a guy, is that girl pretty? We do that shit too with ourselves. Like if a guy goes, hey, do you think that guy is like, buff or, something?
No,
we'll be like, nah.
I don't know. That's a Sisko thing.
No. I'm
I'm
straight.
asking you
I'm straight.
who's fucking.
No, but remember that one time we talked about like man crushes, and you got all
that was a different thing.
all insecure and
I didn't get insecure. I was so secure that I said that I love Memo Ochoa. If there was one guy I'd be with Memo Ochoa. That's how secure I
But
was.
at first you felt a little awkward till we said, all right, cool. We like,
No.
Okay. Female celebrity crush then, right before I
Yeah.
head
Who
out.
would you be like? Fuck it. I'm not even gonna be straight.
Salma Hayek.
Salma Hayek, she's fine.
She fine.
Even now, she's fine. Yeah.
Dude, of all time, like her 20s and now.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck? How do you even do that?
Desperado.
her personality too.
Yes!
Like, God.
What a win, man. Like,
Yeah. Her accent, fucking.
her, everything.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Shakira. Shakira too.
Yeah, but
We'll be here too long if you ask me.
All right. We're gonna move on to the words of wisdom. And the words of wisdom, this is all you. You have to tell us something that you've lived by, that you do on a daily basis, or that you want people people can use in their life to better themselves. Or
Okay, pause. I have notes because I write a lot. Oh my gosh. Okay.
it could also be a song. If you have a song that you
There's lyrics, fool, that actually get to you. Remember, a lot of songs actually, if you really listen to them, they have like these like bars in there. Like there's hip hop songs. Tupac has a lot. Where if you just slow it down, you just listen to it, like damn.
You know what you just hit me?
Which one?
Got it.
Your Heart. With J. Cole and Joyner. Yeah, Joyner Lucas.
to that in a
Your
minute.
Heart. Actually, I was like, and it's been out for a while, but anyways, back to you.
I gotta hear that on the drive back. But I mean, it's not necessarily like a phrase or anything. We touched on it a lot here today. It's basically appreciation of the present because it's all that we have, and maximizing on that. Like, there was a lot of instances in my life where in the present, I was aware that I was in the present, and I was just kind of like on potato mode, you know?
Yeah.
And like, our time is numbered, like it is, you know? Of course, there are many beliefs behind the afterlife or what came before that. But the fact of the matter is that we are here right now, you know? And in this moment, like, there is so much to be done with this moment. No existe el mañana, existe la hora. So, you know, just capitalize on right now, on what you have right now, whatever that may be. And I think that that's been my switch. Like, going from like, oh, okay, yeah, like I'll do it like when it comes or when I get there. Like, no, like how you guys just started the podcast from one day to another. Like, I just got up and I decided to just move on singing. And those things propel a greater purpose. Like, we're not just doing them. We're doing them with a mission, with a message.
Yeah.
And yeah, connecting what fulfills you to, you know, your life mission. And there's this thing called The Four Impediments. It's a preface of The Alchemist. I don't have it memorized by heart, but I think if you guys reference that, like, there's a lot of connection to it. Basically, following your calling and following your dream is like kind of like giving the universe or God the credibility and like creating you, you know, like kind of like, oh, okay, like it's fulfilling your purpose. Like, there's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why everybody's here. Varying, but yeah, that is my message.
You know who Master Shifu is?
I heard of him, but I've never.
Kung Fu Panda. You know what he says? You know what he says? He says, yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, but right now is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
Wow.
Nice. Oh, with the
Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu
DreamWorks
Panda.
coming in with those lines.
I know, right?
Pero bueno, muchísimas gracias to
Thank
everybody.
you.
that
Thank you
listened
for
to
coming.
Thank you for coming on a
guys.
Sunday morning.
Tell everybody where they can find you before we...
Claro que sí. I'm on basically every social media as Janine Cantante. Kind of self-explanatory. I'm a Janine that sings. So yeah, just follow the journey, and the YouTube should be popping off in a couple weeks with that video. Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
No, thank you for coming. We know you got to go. Thank you guys for watching, everybody.
We'll see you guys, all right? All right, cool.